This is student meteorologist Nico Sapienza. We have a much nicer evening this evening than what we had been talking about last week. Waiting for the live look at Doak to pop up, but it's pretty nice. Yeah, there it is. It's sunny. There's no clouds in the sky this evening. You can tell with the drier air that we've had this evening, and all day really. You can feel it when you go outside. It is 87 degrees, but it's sunny and it's dry, so we're going to end up with having a pretty nice evening to be out and about if you're going to be going outside this evening. And looking at your current local radar, you could see some ground clutter, but no rain, no precipitation this evening. Tonight it's going to get down to 62. It's going to be our coolest night so far of this fall semester, and it's only the beginning of fall, so we're not too far out from where we're going to end up having nicer weather. But some headlines for today: to crisper air, to cooler air. We're going to have a sunny week, and the official start of fall is less than a week away on Saturday. But now I'm going to pass things off to Josh at the desk.
Good evening, everybody. This is Josh Millay, student meteorologist with your Monday night weather. Now, as Nico said, we have a lot to talk about. Thankfully, we have no rain, and also in 5 days, September 23rd, mark your calendars, and I see you right there. Make sure it's going to be fall, and I can finally say I'm in the fall 2023 semester, and it actually be fall and not summer. Thank goodness. Now, we have a lot to talk about, as well as we'll have a discussion of flamingos in Ohio. That's surprising. I would never think of that. And also, we're going to just talk about the beautiful weather that we've seen all throughout the state, and we're going to even highlight some of our favorite cities throughout the entire state in general, such as St. George Island. Now, what we will be talking about is that we've been having some great temperatures, and thankfully we've had a cold front come through, so we've had more comfortable temperatures. But overall, I'm just excited to talk about this week in general because it'll be a lot nicer. Now, Nico, what's going on throughout Tallahassee so far?
Thank you, Josh. You can see it's a live look at downtown Tallahassee. We've got sunny conditions. It's 87 degrees, and it's pretty nice out. Your winds, you see it's out of the north-northwest. It had been out of the west more last week, so we can see where we had cooler conditions coming in. The almanac has finally come in. It wasn't in yet when I was looking at graphics, but this is about what I expected. Our high was right at average. The low was below average, though. We hit 65, our coolest morning yet of fall, and tonight's going to be even cooler. But you can tell the difference. Even though it was around the same temperature last week, we were dealing with humidity, so it was 88 and feeling closer to 98, or today it's 88 and actually feels like 88. We're nowhere near the record high of 101 or feeling like that either, and nowhere near the record low 56 either. We might only be a few degrees off that tonight, but we're probably not going to make it there. But looking at your current temperatures, it's in the mid-80s pretty much area-wide. Our warmest spots right now are around 86 degrees, and our coolest spots are in southern Georgia, where they had even more influence from the front. 82 in Thomasville is your coolest spot this evening, which is going to feel pretty nice. And you can see area-wide, the dew points are now lower. We were dealing with dew points in the 70s last week. Today, our dew point is 55, and our highest dew point is Monticello at 64, but that one has tended to be about 5 degrees warmer than all the others anyway. It's probably in the 50s there, too, and you can even see on this map that it's drier. Looking at tonight's forecast, though, you can see 65. I honestly think it's going to get even cooler than that, so we're likely expecting our coolest evening. Even the beaches are going to get down into the upper 60s, and our coolest spot, Thomasville, is 61 degrees. So we're only a couple degrees off from being in the 50s. But current radar, nothing. We have nothing on the radar except ground clutter. No rain, it's clear outside. Much different story than what we had last week. Pretty much area-wide. But looking at the future radar, nothing either except maybe a few passing clouds. But it's going to stay dry. It's going to be a nice day to be outside tomorrow as well. It's going to be another dry day. So if you want to go and cuddle your cat and have some coffee, tonight's going to be a good night to do that. It's going to be 62 degrees. It's going to be a cool night, very good conditions tonight. I think it's going to be pretty nice out, actually. And looking into tomorrow, if you're planning your day, 63 at 6 a.m., that's going to be your coolest temperature. We're still in the 60s at 9 a.m., and we do get up to about 86, mid to upper 80s tomorrow. but it's going to be another dry day, so it's going to be a nice 86 and not a humid 86. And we're seeing our high in the upper 80s. We are at 90 on Wednesday, but still dry weather. We may have a bit more humidity on Thursday as a little bit of a reinforcing front comes through. And then the rest of the week stays pretty much right around average, but drier than average as well. Now I'm going to pass things off to Josh to look around Florida.
Thank you so much, Nico. So as you're seeing, we were just seeing lovely skies, lovely conditions throughout the entire state. So Panama City and Tampa and Orlando actually are looking just gorgeous. Tampa and Miami are also having some clouds as well, but they are nonetheless looking great. No rain expected. Now, currently we are seeing some temperatures going across the state from the 80s, mid 80s, going down to the 90s around Tampa and Key West. Now, as we go to our dew points, we're actually seeing some really nice dew points. 47 in Pensacola. That's fantastic compared to the 75 in Miami. I'd rather take the 47 over the 75. Now, we're also seeing some really nice dew points, especially here in Tallahassee, 55. And as we go down the state, we're getting down to the 70s, so it's going to be muggy from Orlando southward. Now, we are seeing some rain, though, as we go into South Florida near Fort Myers. We actually saw some rain earlier today, and most of the rain is now pushing off towards Palm Beach County and going into greater Miami Metro, but nothing too severe to be worried about. Now, as we mentioned earlier, we have this rain coming through, pushing off into Palm Beach, and also some rain that was here in Fort Myers this afternoon, but it has since dissipated and moved southeastward. Now, we also have some rain in this well south of Central Florida. So greater Orlando area, you have nothing to worry about if you are there, but if you're just south of Orlando, specifically south of Osceola County, just make sure to have an umbrella and make sure to take some extra time when navigating the roads. Miami, still seeing those clouds, but very much rocking it. Now, we are expecting some rain throughout Tuesday and Wednesday, so make sure that if you're going out for any plans for those days, make sure to bring a rain jacket, umbrella, and make sure to stay off the roads if you are having to drive through those days. Tampa looking absolutely gorgeous, especially over downtown, and also we're going to be seeing some rain as well. Same story as Miami, but we'll be seeing it more so happen starting tomorrow and then continuing into Thursday. But we do have a really nice low of 56. So if you're going to go outside clubbing, if you need, don't be afraid to carry the jacket. Just a fleece zip-up will be great. Weather. Very nice contrast to what we've been seeing lately. Panama City, absolutely gorgeous, especially for FSU PC students. Now, we're going to be rocking very nicely, as we'll be in the upper 80s, upper 70s, and then we'll be in the mid 60s for a low. So that'll be very comfortable. And finally, Pensacola, home of so many people. Shout out to Sydney Grace, who's from Pensacola. And also, we're just going to be hanging around the mid 80s and mid 60s for a low. So make sure if you are planning to go outside for that, just enjoy yourself and just enjoy the beautiful weather. Now, Nico, what's going on through the rest of the southeast?
Yes, thank you, Josh. First, I'm going to see around the state, we're having our lows at around 63 in Tallahassee. So it's going to be a cool evening. And as we do pass on to looking at our southeast, it's going to stay pretty chilly around the entire southeast except for Miami. I see thunderstorms near Miami. This looks pretty cool. It would be cool to be there and watch that right now. But Clemson, you're at 75 degrees. Atlanta, you're at about 78 degrees right now. Meanwhile, Tampa, you're at 79. So these are all pretty nice temperatures. These are locations along the coast that have already been hit by the sea breeze. But looking at your current temperatures, you can see that there's some that are pretty warm, even though it is dry. So it will be nicer, but 93 is still pretty hot for this time of the year. So Shreveport, it's hot even though it is dry, but at least it's not as bad as when the dew point was in the 70s. And looking around the area, you can see current dew points pretty much in the 50s for most of the interior southeast. Jackson, Mississippi has a dew point of 43, which is really dry. But you can see about where the cold front has not made it through yet, with the dew points around 70 in Orlando and Tampa and 75 in Miami, which is why southern Florida is still having pop-up sea breeze storms and lots of moisture too. You can see the water vapor. You can see where all the pop-up storms have developed along the Atlantic sea breeze as they hit the sea breeze in southern Florida. You can also see about where the cold front stopped in northern Florida because you have your drier air north of it, and that's what's made it feel so nice instead of so muggy today. And looking at your humidity, this is another thing that's showing us pretty much where the front is stopped in northern Florida right now. Anything north and west of this line, it's dry. You may have a little bit of humidity, but it's pretty dry, and it's going to stay dry all evening. South of this line, you have a chance of showers and storms to develop this evening, and it's going to feel muggy and not quite as nice. And over the next 48 hours, you can see the same story. It's going to be nice in Tallahassee, but tomorrow afternoon is expected to be another active one along that front and along the sea breeze. And then as you move into Wednesday, you start to develop northeast winds, and then we end up with coastal showers pretty much along the entire east coast. We do have some clouds in Tallahassee, however, don't expect it to rain in Tallahassee on Wednesday either. But tonight's forecast, interior southeast, you can range anywhere from about 55 to 71 in New Orleans, where you have the lake and the beach pretty close by, about an hour's drive from New Orleans, so you're going to feel it by all those bodies of water, which is going to keep you warmer. Interior, it's going to be pretty chilly tonight, and it's going to be nice. Now looking at Florida, you could see major difference just between Jacksonville at 63 and Orlando at 74, where the front has stopped. Southern Florida, though, it's 78 degrees. And as you look around the southeast, looking at Atlanta's weather for the next few days, it's going to be nice. This is one of the things that is reflecting that cold front. This is pretty seasonable, and it's going to feel nice. It's going to be dry for the next 3 days as well. But now I'm going to pass things back off to Josh to look at the national.
So our local spotlight actually is going to be St. George Island, which is just southwest of Tallahassee. We're about 2 hours away from it, but it's a lovely place to go. I've been there before, and I can't recommend it enough. So just like I said about Panama City, just lovely camera, just a lovely view, especially like this line of clouds. It doesn't, now you may think it looks dark and ominous, but, or even if you don't think of that, it's just adding to the beauty of the sunset. So as we go to our temperature right now, we are at 87 degrees, sunny with a slight wind coming from the north-northwest. But as we go to our weekend plans, you can go to the beach for sure. Summer, because again, summer's so close to being over. I know this is a sad phase, but personally, I'm just glad for it. It's time for it to go. And then they have a dog beach for pups, especially. I know a bunch of people, like my family friends, Caitlin as well, our team lead, also has a puppy. And then it's also a great place to go eat seafood if you are truly craving it. I love seafood. I can't get enough of it. If I'm ever down in St. George Island, I will happily be going back to get some seafood, although I will not be there anytime soon for the beach at least. But I will say, try out the nature trails around there because they're just absolutely breathtaking. Now, Nico, I heard that there are apparently flamingos in St. George Island. Can you tell me about that?
Flamingos been spotted on St. George Island. It's related to Hurricane Idalia, which passed through on August 30th. The flamingos are originally from the Yucatan, but they migrated across the southeast around the storm because to make it easier for them, they decided to fly with the storm's winds, which made it pretty nice for them, pretty easy, instead of having to tough it out. But that has caused flamingos to be spotted anywhere from Texas to Pennsylvania and Ohio. So not even all coastal states. Ohio's pretty far inland. So if you're seeing any flamingos up in the Northeast, if you have family members or friends up there telling you that they've seen one, it may have come from Florida and left here during Idalia. So definitely not any problem with them being up there. Nothing went wrong for them. But that's pretty interesting, and it's pretty easy for them to fly into the wind instead of having to tough it out. They actually used to be native to Florida, but they no longer are really for the most part. They're only about 1% of the flamingo population is here because we've built over most of it. And right now, even more of them are gone from the area because a lot of them have flown to other states. They got picked up by Idalia's winds, so meanwhile, while we were all experiencing it, they were all trying in their own way to evacuate the storm by flying out of it, and they got pretty far. So some of them are pretty far away from here. I mean, Texas, you got 1,000 miles. Ohio, you've got probably 1,200 to 1,400 miles that these flamingos have flown away from the center of Idalia. So that's a pretty long distance, but they're not going to have to worry about any hurricanes, obviously, up in that area. So that's definitely going to be nice. But now I'm going to pass things back off to the wall with Josh to talk more about the tropics and how it could affect us over the next couple weeks.
All right, so as you mentioned earlier, we are it's really interesting to see those flamingos make it all the way through because of the tropics. Now, one thing that we will say is that now with Lee, we don't have to worry about that anymore because Lee has now dissipated, and we don't. And as we mentioned earlier, we are not having to worry about any threats to us so far. Now, as we go throughout the tracking the tropics, one thing that you do have to keep in mind is we're not done yet. Because again, official hurricane season doesn't end until November 30th. And even then, storms can happen outside of that season, but they're a lot less likely. Now, we are up to Nigel right now, so we will be getting into that, but Margot is not a threat to us, and neither is Nigel, as we will be discussing. So here is Nigel right now. Margot's up here, and this is the remnants of it. And then as we mentioned, here are the remnants of Lee. And then also we have, now as we mentioned, we also have some areas of concern, mainly off the coast of Africa, and also off the coast of actually Florida and the Carolinas. So that's something we will be talking about earlier. But as we go into Nigel, then we are seeing that it's currently a Category 1 hurricane, but it's going to be curving off the coast and strengthening to a Category 2, and maybe getting up to a Category 3 is possible, but it's not a threat to us. However, if you are out in Bermuda or have family heading into Europe, they need to keep an eye on this because it could affect them and it could make landfall to them. So, as we also move to our IR satellite, we are seeing some chances for development, mainly here with a high percent chance off the coast of Cape Verde and also off of Western Africa. And then we also have a small chance over here near Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. So we'll zoom into that coast. And right now, it's only a 30% chance, but keep in mind that doesn't mean that it can't happen. It just means that it's a small chance compared to what we saw earlier with the chance off of Western Africa. So that's something you got to keep an eye on. We're not done with hurricane season by far, but we do have something. We just need to make sure you keep an eye on it. Now, for hurricane safety, yes, we went through Idalia, but I will constantly hammer this home. We are not done by far. We have 2 months to go. So stay weather aware, watch for updates, take action, stock up on supplies. If you need to restock from Idalia, do so, and then listen to local officials when deciding to evacuate. It's always good to make sure you know what you're doing and have a plan before the storm, because it's always easier to plan before than try to plan for emergencies during and maybe even after. Be prepared and just make sure you know what you're doing. Now, Nico, what's going on with the local?
Thank you, Josh. There's pretty nice weather outside the EOAS building, but that's a good point that we do have to pay attention. We do still have another 2.5 months of hurricane season, so even though it's nice now, that doesn't mean we won't get hit by another hurricane at some point. 84 degrees right now. It has cooled off a bit, and your winds are out of the north-northeast this evening, so you see that the northerly winds have brought in some drier air. You don't see a cloud in the sky this evening. Looking at our temperatures, though, 88 degrees, right at average. So nice day. It felt average because we didn't have that humidity, so instead of it being like 100 degrees and feeling like it was way above average, even though we were actually at average, now it's actually feeling like it should at this time of the year. Our low is just a couple degrees off the average low too, and it's going to be even cooler tonight, so maybe we'll only be a few degrees away from the record. I don't think we'll break it, but we'll be close. Looking area wide though, we're in the mid 80s. It hasn't really cooled down much since about 20 minutes ago when I was last on the local, so it's pretty much the same story, but we're looking at 85 in Tallahassee, mid 80s, 86 along the coast, because there's not too much of a sea breeze today that's keeping the temperatures there cooler because the wind's out of the north, but it is a drier air instead of having it come from the Gulf. And you can see that with the dew points, even all the way out to the coast where you have those drier patches instead of your really, really dark green, you're having light green and even some lighter green south of Crawfordville. And your dew points are reflecting that. Your dew points are between 55 and 60 area wide, except for Donaldsonville at 50, which is a little bit lower dew point. Monticello, I think you're a little bit off because you're 10 degrees higher than everyone else, but it's going to be pretty nice there as well. You can see area wide, our temperatures are all in the 60s, 65 in Tallahassee and 61 in Thomasville are our cool spots. And you can see that We are going to have clear weather tonight, which is going to allow radiational cooling, which means we're going to end up having cooler temperatures because the heat is going to be able to escape with the clear weather. And then tomorrow, we're going to heat back up, but it's going to stay dry. So instead of having to deal with the muggy humidity, it's going to be a nice 86 degrees by 6 o'clock. We're going to get to the upper 80s tomorrow, but it will be dry. And you can see Wednesday at 90, but it's not going to be 90 and feeling like 105. It's going to be 90 and feeling like 90, so it will be nicer. We stay pretty nice all the way through the end of the week into next week before humidity increases again. But now I'm going to pass things back off to Josh.
Thank you, Nico, so much for the look at the local. Now we're going to expand things out and talk about lifestyle. Now, as we saw, Panama City, St. George Island, looking absolutely breathtaking, but we're not done with the beautiful scenery. We're also seeing Lake Bradford, and we go to the Sportsplex, and we are just seeing beautiful blue skies. Now, as you see for our day plan tomorrow, we're going to be hanging around, starting off tomorrow in the low 60s and working up to the mid 80s. That's actually an improvement from the 90s of last week, and we are still keeping sunny skies, so nothing to worry about in terms of rain and precipitation at all. Now, for Landis Green, we're going to see 87 degrees, sunny conditions, a slight wind, but for the most part, it'll be very nice to go outside. However, I recommend taking some water and taking a hat and sunscreen, just because if you're going to be outside for a while, you could also get sunburned, and we're still wrapping up summer. So that's something you do need to keep in mind. Now, Strozier, tonight will be 62, so very nice to go outside, but you may want to carry a fleece zip-up. I probably will because I get cold easily, not just walking to and from the library, but in Strozier itself. So make sure to just bring that with you, and just enjoy the nice, cool conditions, especially on your walk to and from Strozier. Now, stargazing, lately we've been seeing some cloudy conditions, but what's great about it is that we're actually seeing some lovely conditions to go tonight. We'll be having clear skies, so I take advantage of that and go out and just go stargazing. Now, here's Caitlin's dog, Winston. Beautiful puppy, by the way. Now, if you are Caitlin walking your dog, I recommend going in the morning, specifically around 9 a.m., maybe a little bit earlier or later depending on your preference. If you like cooler, go around 8. If you like it a little bit warmer, go around 10. But I say try to have it done by 2 o'clock, because if you don't, it's going to just be hotter and a little bit muggy as we go throughout the day. Now, tomorrow for the beach, if you're going down to St. George Island, like I do recommend, I would say go around anytime before 2 o'clock, as I mentioned, because we will be hitting the 80s by then. And then as you drive tonight, it'll be very nice as we're going to work our way down to 72 degrees. So if you're driving, let's say on 90, I-10, 27, whichever roads you need to take, it'll be very nice outside. If you need to go outside for any minute, especially to go driving to the fields to go stargazing, bring a jacket with you just in case you're planning to stay out a little bit late. Now, countdown to fall. First day of fall is going to be in 5 days on Saturday, September 23rd. Halloween, 43 days. I'm behind. I need to go get my Halloween costume. And Thanksgiving is 66 days. Some time to spend with my lovely family back home in Orlando. Now, Nico, what's going on back around Tallahassee?
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, you can already start to see where we are going to be having. We're going to be having our taste of fall coming into the area locally pretty soon, but you can see your current radar right now. Ground clutter is all you can see on it, and you can already tell that the radar looks more like fall than it does summer, because we aren't seeing a sea breeze coming up from the coast. We're seeing our ground clutter come out of the north, indicating northerly wind. It's not humid, and we don't have the afternoon storms that we typically have in the summer. So it is more of a fall-like day for early fall in Tallahassee, and tomorrow looks like more of the same because it's going to stay clear. We don't see much in the way of clouds unless you're in southern Georgia. You have a couple clouds up there, but they're going to be fair weather clouds, and they're just going to pass on by. It's going to stay nice, except for a couple clouds in Thomasville and Quincy. We aren't expecting any clouds in the sky tomorrow, really. It's going to be around 85 degrees this evening, and we aren't seeing many clouds this evening either. And you can see as you're going out tonight, late night tonight, if you're going to be out after midnight, it might get a little bit chilly, but I think this is pretty nice. So you don't really need a jacket if you're like me, but if you get chilly easily, if you're from South Florida, I know a lot of people from South Florida get chilly easily, you might want to bring a jacket because it's going to dip below 70 by midnight tonight. So it's going to be our chilliest day in a while. Our day planner, it's not going to be 87 all day, but this is our expected high temperature. If you're going to be out at 9 a.m., it's going to be closer to 70 degrees. So if you want to go out tomorrow, if you want to enjoy the sunny weather that you're seeing this evening and you're going to see into tomorrow, tomorrow's going to be probably the nicest day to do so because it is going to be dry, it's going to be sunny, and it's going to be our chilliest day yet this fall. As I take things over to the desk, it is going to be a nice week, and we're looking at having fall weather. How are you feeling about the fall weather?
Honestly, I'm feeling fantastic. I hope you're all feeling fantastic because this summer has been hot, hot, hot. We've been seeing heat advisory, outdoor heat advisory, outdoor heat advisory in Tallahassee, and that's just not even in Tallahassee alone. I've been seeing that back home in Orlando, especially in August. It was just not fun at all. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for the fall, especially for just being, because it's perfect for sweater weather.
Yeah, it's definitely going to feel nice after all those heat advisories. I'm from St. Augustine. We had more of the same. In fact, from August 5th to the 15th, we had 11 straight days of either an excessive heat warning or a heat advisory. It's definitely nice to be done dealing with all of those heat warnings and watches for the summer.
Yeah, I can agree with you even more. I'm just ready for fall overall because it's time. Although, I will say I am happy to see that this week we're having some sunny conditions because while I do like rain and all, I'm not a big fan of it raining a lot, especially having to worry about carrying a big bulky umbrella to cover my bags because let's be real, it's just the small umbrellas don't do it for me. So yeah, I'm excited for the sunny conditions, lower temperatures, and just overall getting ready to hop into fall on the best note possible.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be really nice this week, and it's going to be nice to not have to deal with the humidity being out walking to class. And it definitely is nice to not have to worry about walking in the rain to go to class either. But I do love storms. That will be the only thing that's not great about going into fall.
Absolutely. Now, for socials, let's get into it. So you can follow us at facebook.com/FSU weather. You can follow us at twitter.com/FSU weather. You can also follow us on instagram.com/FSU weather. And as you're watching right now, watch us live at youtube.com/FSU weather. And as I said, follow us on Instagram at FSU weather. That's very popular amongst our college age students. And also, we have a TikTok. So make sure you can like us on TikTok at FSU weather, and just make sure you're doing it off of school Wi-Fi.
Yes, definitely. And if you want to send us any pictures on any of those, we'll see them. That will definitely be cool. But now we're going to leave you with one last look at your 7-day at the wall.